We left the last video as having received a diagnosis of Pseudotumor Cerebri. I'm going to keep repeating the diagnosis during several videos. And having been prescribed Diamox as the first medication, I was told that most patients do well with Diamox. I was warned that there were some side effects, but that illness-wise, many patients do well with Diamox, so that doctors were hopeful that there would be no other things to be done. I am very probative, I'm very inquisitive, so I asked, well, what other things might have to be done. And I was given a short list, but doctors were pretty tight-lipped as to what to do. For the next several months, first of all, Diamox did not work for me at all. Did not decrease my intracranial pressure. I did have some side effects. I don't remember what they were, honestly, at this time. I would have to go back through my records, which I have binders and binders of them. In fact, I'm trying to digitalize them, but it's a long process. But it simply, and I've tried it several times since, it simply did not work, unfortunately. I've learned that I am, if this certain procedure or medication works for 90% of people, but there are 10% that it doesn't work, that's going to be me. And then if within that 10% only 1% it doesn't work for, that would be me. So I have experienced a myriad of procedures, medications. The list is long. In any case, today, I don't know if you can tell, but I am feeling quite, I'm feeling low. My headache is bad. I'm feeling quite dizzy, and I wanted to spend this video just briefly mentioning some of the symptoms that I encountered. There's a difference between the word signs and the word symptoms, so just be aware. So these are the symptoms that me as a patient encountered, and I became aware these were Pseudotumor Cerebri symptoms after I got diagnosed. The first one, of course, was the headache, the infamous headache, the horrendous headache, and the one that doctors kept asking me, well, can you describe your headache? And it's, for me, very difficult to describe a headache. If they said to me, well, is it just throbbing headache? Well, no, not really throbbing headache. Where is it exactly? Later on, a decade later, I also started having cluster headaches. And those are very easy to describe. I mean, for me, they were a burning stick being stabbed right into my left eye, dripping nose. I mean, it was very direct, very easy. Pseudotumor headaches weren't so easy to describe. For me, they were more top of the head, a lot of pressure, almost like they wanted, fluid wanted to shoot out. I also had neck pain, very uncomfortable, and at that time that was not a symptom of Pseudotumor Cerebri. So they would just say to me, oh, maybe you didn't sleep right, maybe you weren't comfortable, and it was hard to hear. The doctors did not believe me. I don't want to wave the flag of I'm a female and I wasn't heard, but it was hard not to be taken seriously. I had tinnitus. Tinnitus is that ringing in your ear. And it was interesting because the first time I went to the neurologist, he said, "Oh, you suffer from tinnitus? Can you hear it right now?" And I said, "Yeah." And he took the stethoscope and actually listened to my ear, and he was able to hear it. He said, "Oh, this is the first time I've been wanting to. I know that, we're able to." And he explained to me that it's the rushing of the fluid going up to the space, the cavity in the brain. And I thought to myself, well, that's great that you can hear it, but I really don't want it. At that time, it was mostly on my right side. It does go back and forth, and I've had it on both sides, which is horrible. In fact, I cannot sleep on my left side unless my ears have sort of hanging out the pillow. Because if I hear it, I won't let me sleep. Sleeping positions is the whole other video. Tiredness was a huge symptom. Having such severe headaches made me exhausted. It made me weak. I also started experiencing sensory problems. I, for example, and they have gotten more acute through time, but for example, I would feel that there was a drop of water falling on my right heel, sort of like the side of my leg. So all of a sudden, I would feel like, oh, I'm getting wet. But no, there was no wetness. So there were some sort of neurological issues happening. There is the infamous incontinence. And I'm sorry to say it like this, but with pseudotumor, rectal incontinence is the more common. That took a while to happen. Fortunately for me, it's very, very minor. I actually have both, and I have been examined to make sure that it was neurological. It was not a pleasant process. But yay. And then there were the cognitive issues. When I started having memory problems to the point that I would be going to, my husband would be driving me to the supermarket. I'm just getting really tired, I'm sorry. My husband would be driving me to the supermarket, and I would be in the car, and I would say to him, "Where are we going, hon?" And he would say, "Remember that we talked about going to the supermarket?" And at first, he did not notice. He would get mad at me because he thought I was not listening to him. And it was until we went to a neurologist at Sloan Kettering, and he did a test, a neurological cognitive test, and he said, "Do you know you have memory problems? They're quite severe." And I went, "What are you talking about?" And I went to another doctor, and he actually noticed the same thing. He would read several paragraphs to me, and I could not process them. By the end of the paragraphs, he would ask me questions, and I could tell him three things. The very typical thing is my husband will tell me a sentence, and by the end of the sentence, I don't know the first word. So I say to him, "I don't know if you just asked me what, why, how, or when." So before you need to start the sentence, you need to say, "Hey, I'm going to ask you something," so that my brain sort of copes with somebody's about to tell you something. And some of those words get jumbled up. And then I go, "Okay." And then I'll start to hear the sentence. And if sentences are too long, I lose them. If my friends tell me things, thank goodness now, because it's been quite a few years, they know that if they told me something last week, I'm not going to remember what they said this week, because it has progressed. Those are things that it's very interesting to me, because they'll do a spinal tap, and towards the end of the spinal tap, when they have drained fluid, I will feel like a cloud has been lifted. And I will say, I can think now. I can think, and it's so wonderful to think. I mean, I'm a PhD. I mean, thinking is something that I do. And it has become very, very frustrating. I need to go now, and I apologize because I'm feeling terrible. But there are many other symptoms. Those are the sort of staples for me. I fall a lot, just so you know. Imbalance is quite acute, especially during an episode of high pressure. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I am going to go take care of myself. And I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.